Tower.
5:47 local time. Kandahar Forward Staging Base, Day 25. The C-17 Globemaster III doesn't wait. Its ramp comes down before the engines have fully spooled, and the 82nd Airborne soldiers streaming down it are already moving. Packs loaded, weapons cased, two columns of silent purpose disappearing into the pre-dawn dark. This is not a combat insertion. Not yet. The Pentagon is calling it a ready force deployment. Approximately 1,000 paratroopers from the 82nd Airborne Division, positioned in theater to respond within hours should the order come. But everyone watching the radar picture across CENTCOM's Combined Operations Center knows what ready means at this stage of the war. You don't airlift the 82nd into a theater unless you're preparing to use them. At the same time, the USS Boxer Amphibious Assault Group cuts through the Arabian Sea at flank speed. 2,200 Marines. 4 days out from the Strait. The Strait is closed. Not officially, not on paper, but functionally, operationally, economically closed. Before Operation Epic Fury launched on February 28th, over 100 vessels transited the Strait of Hormuz every single day. Today, March 25th, day 25, the number is 3. 3. A waterway that moves 20% of the world's entire oil supply is running at 3% capacity. The International Energy Agency has called it the largest single energy supply disruption in the history of the global oil market. And Iran is not letting up. 6:14. Bahrain airspace. Missile alert sirens have now sounded in Bahrain for the 143rd time since February 28th. But last night was different. Kuwait's air defense network registered 7 separate alarm cycles in a single night. Iranian missiles and Shahed series loitering munitions probing the Gulf's defensive perimeter in overlapping waves, timed to exhaust radar operators and overwhelm intercept queues. Saudi Arabia's eastern province lit up simultaneously. The kingdom's defense forces shot down 47 Iranian drones, 38 of them within a 3-hour window. That is not harassment. That is a coordinated suppression of air defense attempt. Simultaneously, in Bahrain's data center corridor, Amazon Web Services' regional cloud infrastructure flickered offline. Drone attack shrapnel. 3 AWS facilities in the Gulf have now been degraded since the war began. The message from Tehran is precise. We are not just targeting military infrastructure. We are targeting the digital backbone of the Gulf's financial system. Iran's Red Crescent Society reported this morning that 17 of its branches have been struck and 94 ambulances destroyed. The humanitarian corridor collapsed. The war has killed 1,444 people inside Iran, including at least 204 children, as U.S.-Israeli precision strikes continue hitting IRGC drone production facilities, missile component factories, and command nodes. CENTCOM confirmed overnight strikes on a turbine engine production site in Qom province, the same facility responsible for supplying components to Iran's Shahed drone line that has been pounding Gulf nations nightly. The Kharg Island option. Here is where the operation shifts from tactical to strategic, where it changes not just the course of this war, but potentially the balance of power in the Persian Gulf for a generation. Kharg Island. Latitude 29 degrees 14 minutes north, longitude 50 degrees 19 minutes east. 23 square miles of rock and pipeline and storage tank sitting 12 nautical miles off Iran's southwestern coast. Through Kharg moves approximately 90% of Iran's crude oil exports, roughly 1.5 million barrels per day, even in wartime. Destroy Kharg, or blockade it, and you don't just hurt Iran's military, you excise its economic heart. Washington is not calling it an invasion, They are calling it a blockade option, a naval and air cordon that prevents any tanker from loading at Kharg's export terminals. Axios reported Tuesday that planning is advanced. The 82nd Airborne soldiers who just stepped off that C-17 are not there by coincidence. The tactical picture is this: a Marine Expeditionary Unit from the USS Boxer, covered by F/A-18E Super Hornets, flying CAP from USS Carl Vinson's strike group, would establish a maritime exclusion zone within 15 nautical miles of Kharg. Any Iranian tanker attempting to load would be turned back. Any Iranian fast attack craft attempting to challenge the cordon would meet the CIWS and Harpoon batteries of 2 Arleigh Burke-class destroyers already repositioned to the southern Gulf. Meanwhile, B-1B Lancers operating from Diego Garcia would remain on 30-minute strip alert, not for Kharg's surface infrastructure, but for the coastal Fateh 110 and Zulfiqar ballistic missile batteries Iran has positioned on the mainland opposite the island. 7:02. CENTCOM Combined Air Operations Center. CENTCOM Commander Admiral Brad Cooper's words are on every screen. Our pilots are dynamically hunting threats in real time, finding and eliminating targets. We will not stop pursuing these targets. He means it. 3,500 kilometers to the north, at RAF Fairford in the UK, B-1B Lancers sit loaded with GBU-72 deep penetrator munitions. 5,000-pound earthshakers already used earlier this week to destroy hardened underground missile launch tunnels along the Hormuz coastline. First combat use of that weapon system in recorded history. The tunnels are rubble now. Iran's coastal anti-ship cruise missile density along the strait, the Ghadir, the Qadar, the Abu Mahdi systems with ranges from 12 to 621 miles, has been degraded by an estimated 40% since the operation began. But Iran has depth, it has redundancy, and it has one card still unplayed: the nuclear question. The IAEA's Director General said it plainly this week. Even after the unprecedented U.S.-Israeli strikes on Iran's nuclear infrastructure, the enriched uranium material almost certainly still exists. The centrifuges may be dust, the tunnels may be collapsed, but somewhere in Iran's dispersed nuclear program, the parts that predate hardened underground facilities, the parts hidden in civilian structures, the material endures. That is the unresolved variable. That is what keeps the war from ending even as Trump extends his 48-hour ultimatum by 5 days, even as Pakistan attempts to broker a 15-point ceasefire plan in Islamabad, even as China's top diplomat urges Tehran that talking is always better than fighting. Iran's response to every diplomatic signal has been the same: another missile salvo. Monday night, 9 separate ballistic missile salvos fired at Israel. Tuesday overnight, intermediate-range missiles aimed at Diego Garcia, the joint US-UK Indian Ocean base, 3,800 kilometers from Iranian territory. Both missed, but the targeting data required to attempt Diego Garcia tells you something critical. Iran has mapped every American military installation within 4,000 kilometers of its borders, and it is working through the list. 8:15. The decision point. The 82nd Airborne is in theater. The Marines are 4 days out. The B-1Bs are loaded. The Arleigh Burke destroyers have repositioned. The question in the CENTCOM Operations Center, the question that will determine whether this war escalates into a full ground campaign or collapses into a diplomatic framework, is whether Washington will execute the Kharg option before Iran's next move. Because Iran has not run out of missiles. It has not run out of drones. Bahrain's defense forces have tracked and destroyed 143 missiles and 242 drones in 25 days. That is over 15 engagements per day, every day, without pause, without degradation in launch tempo. The Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps Navy still has fast attack craft in the strait. Iranian submarines, Kilo-class and locally produced Ghadir-class midget submarines, remain unaccounted for in the latest surface picture. The Strait of Hormuz is not a battlefield. It is a choke point. And right now, it is Iran's choke point. The only answer to a choke point is to make the thing being choked irrelevant. Seize Kharg, enforce a naval blockade, remove Iran's ability to export oil entirely, and suddenly the regime that has been weaponizing energy prices has nothing left to weaponize. The 82nd Airborne didn't fly 12,000 kilometers to sit on a runway. This is day 25. The question for you: if you were in that operations center right now, with 7,000 plus Iranian targets already destroyed, with the Strait at 3% capacity, with the 82nd in theater, and the Marines 4 days out, would you execute the Kharg blockade? Or would you take the Pakistan diplomatic channel and see if Iran blinks first? Drop your answer in the comments, because the officers making this call are making it right now, in real time. And the world's energy markets, the global shipping lanes, and the future of the Middle East are hanging on what they decide in the next 48 hours. This is Operation Epic Fury, Day 25, and it is far from over.